Archangel Michael says, the person who once disappeared like you meant nothing is now drowning in memories they tried to bury. Their silence has turned into torment. Their peace has been replaced by echoes of your name. They left without explanation. They ghosted you, thinking you would fade into the background. But instead of vanishing, you rose. You rose in energy, in spirit, and in strength they never expected you to carry without them. Type Amen to get blessing 333. Comment, I release what tried to erase me. If this is awakening something inside you, they are realizing now that ghosting you was not a victory. It was a curse they placed on their own heart. Because your energy was rare, and their absence is now a prison. They scroll through your pictures in silence. They revisit your old messages late at night. They speak your name when no one is around. And the regret? It's louder than ever. Type Amen to get blessing 444. They thought the silence would save them from feeling. But now that silence has turned into a storm. Every room they enter echoes the void your presence used to fill. They try to replace you, but no one speaks to their soul the way you did. No one laughs the way you laughed. No one sees them the way you did, and it's breaking them. Type Amen to get blessing 777. Comment, no one can replace divine connection. If you know your worth was never meant to be ghosted. You didn't fall apart. You rebuilt in the shadows. And now you shine in places they can't access. They hear about you from mutual connections. They see your growth in glimpses they can't control. And every update feels like a dagger to their ego. Because what they thought would break you has made you unstoppable. Type Amen to get blessing 202. Archangel Michael says, they will try to come back. But not from a place of love, first from guilt. Because their conscience can no longer stay quiet. They remember everything. How you gave with open hands. How you loved without fear. How you stayed loyal even while being overlooked. Type Amen to get blessing 388. Comment, I stayed true even in silence. If this part of your story still stings. They thought you'd always be available. They believed you'd wait in the shadows for their return. But you surprised them. You chose healing over hoping. You chose closure over chaos. And now, they are the one left hoping. Hoping to hear from you. Hoping for a second chance. Type Amen to get blessing 511. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. They're asking about you, quietly, indirectly, testing the waters through others. They're scared to reach out because they know they don't deserve your voice. But they miss the way you understood them. They miss the peace you brought. They miss the future you imagined together. Type Amen to get blessing 804. Comment, they miss what they left behind. If your silence was louder than words, there will be a moment when they break. It might be a song that reminds them, or a place they once visited with you. They will cry your name, not in power, but in pain. Because by ghosting you, they abandoned their own light. And now, their darkness is catching up. Type Amen to get blessing 600. Archangel Michael says, do not be surprised when they reappear. They will return softer, quieter, filled with sorrow. But by then, your heart may no longer be available. Because while they disappeared, you evolved. You grew into someone even they cannot access anymore. Your glow now intimidates them. Your boundaries now block them. Type Amen to get blessing 930 comment, I evolved past their silence. If you know your growth was the true answer, you will feel them thinking about you. You'll sense their regret in random waves of emotion. Their energy will knock, but it won't find an open door. Not because you're bitter, but because you've finally made peace with what you deserve. And temporary people no longer fit in your permanent purpose. Let them feel what they once ignored. Type Amen to get blessing 117. They'll write a message and delete it. They'll stare at your profile and say nothing. Because what do you say to someone you ghosted, when they became the best version of themselves without you? Their pride kept them quiet. Now their shame is louder than their ego. And your peace is louder than their presence ever was. You don't need their apology to heal. Type Amen to get blessing 391. They will replay your last conversation in their mind over and over, wondering how they could have handled it differently, wishing they had the courage to say what needed to be said. But they chose avoidance. They chose disappearance. And now they are left chasing shadows of what once could have been real. The silence they used to escape is now the punishment they can't run from. Type Amen. To get blessing 556 comment, they chose silence. I chose strength. If you turned your pain into power, you have no need to prove anything anymore. Because your evolution already speaks. Your life now radiates the healing they could have had a part in, but they forfeited. They thought ignoring you would empower them, but all it did was remove their access to your rare spirit. Now they sit in rooms filled with noise, but none of it feels like you, because your presence cannot be replicated. Type Amen to get blessing 289. They'll try to make sense of their own emptiness. They'll try to fill it with distractions, with new people, with movement. But none of it will satisfy the space you used to fill effortlessly. Because you weren't just a person. You were peace. You were light. You were a reflection of everything they wanted but were too afraid to hold. Type Amen to get blessing 803 comment, they feared my depth. If you know they left because they couldn't rise with you. There's a message they're crafting in their mind. Words they rehearse but never send. Because even they know you've outgrown their silence. They want to say, I'm sorry. They want to say, I miss you. But regret without action is still just a ghost. And you no longer entertain ghosts. Type Amen to get blessing 414. Archangel Michael says, your value was never tied to their ability to recognize it. You are not defined by who walked away. You are defined by who you became when they did. You are not bitter. You are better. You are not broken. You are brilliant. Type Amen to get blessing 1007 comment, I define me. If you've reclaimed your identity from their silence. Their pride is cracking. They're watching you flourish. And it hurts, not because you moved on, but because they never expected you to glow without them. They thought they were the blessing, but you were the divine lesson. And now they're learning it every single day. You don't have to teach them, they're learning on their own. Type Amen to get blessing 370. There's someone else now who sees what they overlooked. Someone who values your presence. Who listens when you speak. Who shows up without games. And that, more than anything, will break the one who ghosted you. Not out of revenge, but because they finally understand what it means to lose you. Not temporarily, but forever. Type Amen to get blessing 627 comment, I was the blessing. if you now see the truth they couldn't. They will come back one day, not to pick up where they left off, but to ask for what they can know. Longer access. They'll want closure. They'll want clarity. But you owe them nothing. You've moved with grace. You've healed without apology. You've forgiven in silence and let your peace do the talking. Now they are the ones haunted by what they threw away. Type Amen to get blessing 858. Archangel Michael says, do not mourn what was removed. Celebrate what was revealed. Because in their disappearance, you discovered your worth. They ghosted you, but you found yourself. And that is a gift no one can ever take. Let them cry your name in regret. You've already walked into your redemption. Type Amen to get blessing 999. They will try to rewrite history in their mind. They will convince themselves they had reasons, that you were too much or too distant. But deep inside, they know the truth. They ghosted you out of fear, not fault. They couldn't handle the intensity of your light. They weren't ready to meet someone who knew how to love without condition. So they left, hoping to feel free. Instead, they found emptiness where your energy used to live. Type Amen to get blessing 764. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Comment, I was never too much, they were too small. If you've outgrown their memory. They're remembering the way you said their name. The way you gave without needing to be asked. The way your silence held more understanding than most people's words. Now they sit in the dark replaying your laugh. Trying to recall the tone of your voice. They didn't realize how unforgettable you were until you stopped reminding them. Now your absence screams where your presence once whispered. Type Amen to get blessing 321. They underestimated your power. They thought ghosting you gave them control. But it only gave you permission to evolve. You didn't just survive. You soared. You didn't just move on. You leveled up. And now, they're not just missing you. They're grieving the version of themselves that only existed in your light. Type Amen to get blessing 513. Comment, my growth is my closure. If you found healing without their apology, you no longer wait for their message. You no longer check for their updates. You've outgrown the story they abandoned. They watch from afar, but they don't dare speak. Because even they know they've lost access. Not because you're bitter, but because you're healed. And healed people don't return to what hurt them. Type Amen to get blessing 284. They had their chance. They played with grace. And now they're learning what happens when you mistreat something sacred. You didn't deserve the pain, but you deserved the power that followed. Type Amen to get blessing 909. Comment, they lost me, and I found me. If this message is your mirror, they'll watch you glow up with someone new. Someone who knows your worth from the beginning. Someone who shows up, speaks truth, and stays. And that new love will expose the old one. Because it will reveal everything you were willing to give the person who ghosted you. And how little they appreciated it. The comparison will hurt, and they will cry your name in silence. Type Amen to get blessing 733. They thought disappearing made them strong. But strength is staying. Strength is being honest. And they had none of that. Now you've become everything they pretended to be. Confident. Centered. Free. You are everything they couldn't handle. Type Amen to get blessing 198. Comment, my elevation is loud, if you know your life now speaks for itself. You are no longer available for half effort, no longer answering to guilt, manipulation, or shame. You are no longer holding space for people who vanish without reason. Let them cry. Let them regret. Let them live with the echo of your name. You don't owe them anything, not even a response. Type Amen to get blessing 454. Archangel Michael says, you passed the test. You did not chase confusion. You chose peace. And now peace has chosen you. Everything you lost in them is being returned in overflow. The ghosted becomes the chosen. The forgotten becomes the favored. Type Amen to get blessing 333. They will whisper your name into pillows soaked in regret. They'll imagine what they would say if they had one more chance. But even in their fantasy, they know, it's too late. Because you've rewritten the story. You've stepped into a chapter where their role no longer exists. And now they're just a footnote in a book that's still being blessed. You are no longer the one waiting. You're the one walking away in full light. Type Amen to get blessing 820. Comment, I walk in light, not longing, if this message reflects your strength. The day is coming when they'll reach for their phone with shaking hands, typing your name in the search bar, staring at your photo, hoping for a sign that you still care. But your heart has healed in ways they will never comprehend. Their access expired the moment they chose silence over sincerity. Now they sit in the same silence they forced on you. But this time, it burns. Type Amen to get blessing 601. They'll blame timing. They'll say they weren't ready. They'll try to rewrite the narrative. But you remember the truth. You remember how they vanished when you needed them most. How you waited for a message that never came. Now they wait for a reply that will never be sent. Type Amen to get blessing 441. Comment, they taught me what I deserve, if their absence revealed your value. Their ego is crumbling under the weight of your glow. Your progress has become their punishment. Your healing has become their haunting. They wanted to see if you reach out first. They wanted to know if they still had a place in your life. Now they know, they don't. You don't revisit closed doors. Type Amen to get blessing 299. Archangel Michael says, you are protected from cycles. No more returning to what broke you. No more testing the same fire that once burned you. This time, the fire is yours. You are the flame now. And anyone who can't handle your light will simply fade into their own shadows. You no longer shrink to fit small hearts. Type Amen to get blessing 900. Comment, I don't reopen old wounds. If you walking forward for good, they'll eventually speak your name out loud. To friends, to strangers, to mirrors, trying to release the pain they thought would never come. But pain always follows cowardice. And silence always turns into screams when truth returns. Your truth is louder now than ever. And it's speaking without needing a word. Type Amen to get blessing 712. You were never weak for loving deeply. You were never foolish for hoping. You were pure in a world full of people who ghost out of fear. Now the universe is matching you with someone who speaks light, not silence. Someone who shows up, not disappears. Someone who honors your soul, not just your presence. And the contrast will be undeniable. Type Amen to get blessing 127. Comment, my love will never be ghosted again, if you ready for what truly matches your energy. They will watch from a distance. As you laugh louder, shine brighter, rise higher, and every smile you share will echo like thunder in their regrets. You were their answered prayer, but they let you go without even trying to understand the gift. Now they will watch someone else receive what they abandoned. Type Amen to get blessing 547. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks. Even strangers mention your name in casual stories, shaking their spirit. Because the universe is now making sure they feel everything they made you swallow. Type Amen to get blessing 801. Comment, what they erased is now everywhere. If your glow became undeniable. They ghosted you thinking you'd break quietly. But you didn't break, you broke free. Now they're stuck in the cycle they tried to escape by vanishing. Their peace is fake. Their smile is performance. Every moment of silence that once comforted them is now haunting. Because they weren't ready for the consequences of discarding gold. Type Amen to get blessing 603. They underestimated your spirit. They thought love meant weakness. They thought leaving without a word made them powerful. But silence is no match for favor. And the favor on your life is speaking louder than their return ever could. You've become everything they didn't believe you would become. And that truth is hitting harder than they imagined. Type Amen to get blessing 432. Comment, they walked away, but I walked higher. If your evolution is undeniable, they will regret how they left. They'll wish they gave you closure. Because now, you've closed the chapter for them. You don't wait for apologies anymore. You don't long for texts that will never be sent. You've healed without validation. And now you're celebrated in rooms they'll never be invited into. Type Amen to get blessing 210. Archangel Michael says, the lesson is done. You've graduated from that cycle. You no longer attract people who ghost, you attract people who guard. The one who ghosted you will eventually see you smiling with someone else. And that moment will be the deepest cut. Because you'll be shining, and they'll know they had that light, but let it go. Type Amen to get blessing 370. Comment, I now attract those who protect my heart. If you're only open to divine connection, the regret will not be soft. It will hit them when they see you winning without them. When they hear about you from others. When they realize they were the only one who didn't see your value. They'll remember the way you spoke life into them. The way you stayed when they pushed. The way you loved even in confusion. Now they're sitting in clarity, but it's too late. Type Amen to get blessing 515. They'll try to come back with soft words. They'll say, I've changed. They'll say, I was scared. But your soul will feel the truth. You'll sense they only returned because they see how far you've come. And you'll smile, not because you want them back, but because you no longer do. Type Amen to get blessing 121. Comment, I'm not who I used to be. If you know you've outgrown their return. They left thinking they could come back to the same version of you. But that version is gone. The new you doesn't wait. The new you doesn't beg. The new you is light. The new you is whole. And the new you is protected. They'll cry your name in silence. But your silence is now sacred. Type Amen to get blessing 100. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20.